Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So the draft is only 8 days away. It is next Friday at the Sphere. I'll be there in person. So even though we got the Stanley Cup Finals going on and general managers doing the most wacky trades of all time yesterday, we still got to make some draft content. And with it only being 8 days out, a lot of these sites, scouting services are starting to drop their full final rankings. I'm going to drop my personal one like Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, but some sites have already released it. The Athletic already did theirs like a month ago, and today we are looking at TSN. And spoiler alert, I have already seen the top 5 of this. Usually I like to do these blind, like a complete blind ranking, but the main reason why I did the TSN one, why I'm making this video, is I saw the top 5 and it was interesting to say the least. You're about to see it yourself and we're going to react. So I wanted to see what else was in store with this Craig Button TSN top. I think it's like a top 100 for the most part. So we're going to go through it now. Craig Button is obviously a veteran of the game, has done this for so long. He's been the TSN prospect guy, knows more than me, but it definitely threw me off based on his top 5, and I think everybody else was also like, what the hell? Now, when looking at this draft, obviously for me, it's Celebrini, Demidov, and then there's a lot up for interpretation. I have my personal tiers, but I can understand where basically everybody's coming from. So let's dive into it. We look at this. Iginla and Yzerman rise in final rankings. Yes, Cole Yzerman, he's going to be very high on Cole Yzerman. Meanwhile, he's been the eyes of most has been declining. Craig Button really likes him. So let's go through it. We're not going to read all this crap. No offense. We don't really care. We'll get right to it. We'll get right to the top 5. Okay, we'll include the top 7, I guess. Celebrini, Demidov makes perfect sense. 1 and 2. He has Tej Iginla all the way at 3rd. I understand being high on Tej Iginla. I think he has a very high floor in this year's draft, considering he's the son of Jerome Iginla. Obviously, has the genetics, but also just his overall play style as a 6 foot guy with a fantastic shot, willing to get into those dirty, hard-nosed places. I can understand that. I just don't see the high-end ceiling of a Tej Iginla, especially when compared to some guys that aren't even listed in this top 7. I disagree. I definitely am high on Tej Iginla. I think he's going to be a very good player. Zeev Boyum at 4. He's already below Artem Leshinov for me personally. I do like him more than like an Anton Silyev. I'm probably going to have Zane Parik ahead of a Zeev Boyum, so that's pretty interesting. Cole Yzerman at 5. That's probably going to draw the most criticism when looking at Cole Yzerman. Not the most complete player. I understand loving him for his shot. It is a fantastic goddamn shot. The guy can rip it. Best shot in this entire draft. Can he do the rest? I do like the Consta Helenius respect at 6th. He's probably going to finish around 5 through 7 to me. I'm much higher on him than others. 36 points in 51 games in Liga this year. Compared that to the other fantastic Finnish prospects that have popped out recently in the past decade. He's comparable to those guys. Only 5'11", but arguably the highest hockey IQ and probably the best two-way game of any forward in this entire draft. I can respect that. Zane Parik at 7th. Makes sense. I understand why people aren't super high on Zane Parik given the defensive limitations, but he's such an offensive firecracker that I think he's going to personally hit. He has potential to be a legit like point per game guy in my opinion. I know that might be higher than some others. Let's go through the next couple. Caden Lindstrom, Anton Silyev, Artem Leshinov still on the board, not in the top 7. That's a take of all time. Okay, then we got Artem Leshinov at 8, again, having him as his 3rd best defenseman. Caden Lindstrom all the way at 9. Maybe he's concerned about the herniated disc that recently popped up with Caden Lindstrom. If you're not aware, herniated disc, not good for your spine vertebrae. He fully healed it. It's going to be fine going forward. It's not really that much of a chronic stuff. Not something good for a 17, 18-year-old to have. Usually it doesn't happen until you're like 30 years old, but still. Sam Dickinson at 10. Yeah, I think Sam Dickinson I'm going to be, based on what I've seen from him, he's very good at the Memorial Cup, but I'm probably going to have him between like the 9 to 12 range. He doesn't like the upside doesn't really excite me that much compared to other guys, but I think he's a very solid prospect. Beckett Seneca at 11th. No Anton Silyev still. I was pretty low on Anton Silyev. I only gave him a 7.7, which is like mid-first round for me. Maybe the 11 through 15 he's probably going to finish. Anton Silyev at 12. Tarek Parasak all the way at 13th, ahead of a Berkeley Cadden, ahead of a Carter Yakimchuk. That is interesting. Tarek Parasak, obviously, if you're not aware, 0 points in 4 WHL games last year. This year had like 105, which was like what Draisaitl put up in the WHL draft. He was on a loaded team with guys like Zach Funk and Riley Height, Cohen Zimmer. They were disgusting, but 13th. I don't know if I would go that high. I think he has very solid top end 55 to 60 point second liner offensive player potential. I wouldn't really say that that's worth a top 15 pick. Definitely not ahead of a guy like Berkeley Cadden. Berkeley Cadden, if he hits with his skill and skating, I think can be a fantastic near point per game guy, whether he has to move over to wing or not. Carter Yakimchuk, 15th. Very interesting because he's 6'3", amazing offensive stats this year. I just don't really see his game fully translating to the NHL from an offense perspective. I think he can be a very, very good second pair guy. I'm not sure he's ever going to be that elite top pairing defenseman. EJ Emery at 16th. I'm pretty high on EJ Emery. I'm probably going to have him between like 17th to 23rd. 16 is a little tough. I like him a lot, but I don't think you're using a lottery pick on a guy that tops out as a first pair solely defensive defenseman. He has some offensive tools, but when looking at him, you're mainly drafting him for defense. I think that he should go a little bit later in the first round. Michael Brandseg-Nygaard, Jet Luchaku, Adam Jiricek, Solberg. Solberg is obviously just rising up charts after his performance at the World Championships. He's very impressive, 6'1.5", physical as hell. Who is he forgetting still? Igor Chernishev. I like Liam Greentree and Chernishev a lot. These are bigger guys, 6'2", 6'3", that have a shit ton of skill. I think that they can be very high-end guys. Those guys are both being in my top 20. I can say that pretty confidently. Still no Trevor Conley. Sasha Boiver was very solid in the USHL this year. So yeah, still no Trevor Conley, which I can understand given some of the off-ice stuff. If you want to go look that up on your own, feel free to. It's not very good. Cole Hudson. Okay, Trevor Conley at 27. Yeah, when looking at Conley, there's the off-ice stuff that you got to deal with. He took that dumb penalty at the World U18s against Team Canada, basically lose the USA, the goddamn gold medal. But this guy is so skilled. I was about to say shit ton of skill or shit ton skilled. I don't know if that's fucking even English, but he's so skilled. He is so skilled. When looking at Trevor Conley, he has legit potential to be a first liner. Will his game fully translate? I'm not so sure, but he has the skill. I think that he should be top 20. Leo Salin Molina, still no, who am I forgetting? Andrew Basha at 30. Surin's going to be very interesting. I've seen him go as high as like top 25, top 20. Alphonse Frey is a guy that I'm decently high on. Nikita Artemanov, all the way down to 40th overall. This is a guy that was very productive in the KHL this year, a very high motor, energetic guy. I think that he definitely should be a first-round pick, considering his production to the KHL and the fact that even though he is 5'11", he plays pretty aggressive. He's just a high-intensity guy that I think is going to be an NHLer. Carter George is like looking like the number one goalie for the most part right now. Who else? Who else is still out there? Aaron Kiviharju all the way down at 60th overall. Teddy Stiga all the way down to 64th. You're seeing Stiga get mocked top first round for the most part at this point. So he's lower on maybe some of these smaller skill guys like an Aaron Kiviharju, only 5'9.5". Barely played this year at the league level. Henry Muse all the way down to 70. That is wild to me. I think that he should be a top 40 guy. Dean Latorno, I can understand that considering he played at the U18 prep circuit, but he lit it up. The dude's 6'6", 6'7". I think someone's going to reach on him with like an early second round pick. I've been mocking him at the end of the first round. I think someone's just going to fall in love and be like, Tage Thompson 2.0, sign me up. I'm going to take a risk. Luke Misa, yeah, he's kind of been slipping, 5'9.5", not that productive this year for the Mississauga Steelheads. Pulkkinen, that's a little bit low for me in my opinion. And then, is there any other shockers? Let's check this out. Christian Humphreys was expected to go very high this time last year. He kind of had a fall from grace. But yeah, this is it. Henry Muse at 70th. Jeez. Okay, that's interesting. But, okay, yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this again? Conley, I think, is a little bit too low. Berkeley Cadden at 14 is a little bit rich for me, or a little bit too low for me. Caden Lindstrom at 9. I do like that he's giving Constantinian some respect. Yzerman's a little bit questionable in terms of an overall placement. But yeah, although I disagree with this, I can understand where he's coming from. There is not clear tiers to this draft after second overall like there was maybe last year when it was like Bedard, then like Mitchkov, Fantilli, Carlson, but Mitchkov obviously fell. Then it was like Benson, well, Benson also fell. But there were certain tiers. Ryan Leonard, Reinbacher, Benson, that kind of tier list. This draft is going to be a total shit show after second overall. I'm really excited to see how it goes. We only got, again, 8 days. I'm going to be in the building giving you guys live content, immediate reactions to the draft. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Who'd you move up? Who'd you move down from Craig Button? Is this guy just getting too old at this point in terms of his prospect analysis? I should go through some of his old 2022, 2023, 2021 like I did with mine. It's always interesting to get these prospect rankings, and I'll be seeing the next one.